Y'all, Wizard101 just announced something gigantic. If you follow their Twitter, you already know this. Whether you have membership or not, right now, Wizard City and Krakatopia are completely free. That means free-to-play players can quest through the first world and the second world of Wizard101, and this is gonna last for the next week, all the way through the 21st of February. I personally think it's always a massive W whenever they do this. I think the community always loves it when they do stuff like this, but I always see the same question every time they do one of these. When is this gonna become permanent? I feel like it's always the same question, and honestly, after a while, I can't help but think the exact same thing. If y'all didn't know, they started doing these like free Wizard City, free Krakatopia things, I wanna say like 3 years ago. It might be even more than that, but since then, what they've done, which I really think is dope, is they extended it from starting at just making Wizard City free to also adding Krakatopia onto it. And there have even been some holidays here and there, I want to say at least one, maybe two, where they put the entire first arc for free. So even though it is easy to be impatient about, like, you know, when they're gonna make more and more of the game permanently free, I do think it's worth noting that even at the pace that they're going, they're still expanding what they're giving to the player for free. That's still a really, really good thing. I think based on the timing alone of this, I feel like they're still doing a lot of research on the impact something like this would have on the game, like even making 1 or 2 worlds free. And the reason I say that, the timing is, I think, kind of relevant. I feel like they've never done this in February. And I bet if you went through all the times that they've made, you know, a world or 2 free, if you went through like the past couple of years of them doing it, you'll probably notice that they try to spread which month they do it. I think at this point, they probably covered most months of the year. Maybe now they have the data to be like, yo, this is the effect this will have on our revenue on this month. This is the effect on this month. I'm not 1,000,000,000% sure that's how it works, because they're not even doing it for free for the entire month. Maybe they, I don't know, maybe there are specific weeks that they're super interested in. But I think based on just the frequency that they're starting to do these things, I feel like some parts of the game will become free, or at the very least, when there's periods of like, you know, relative downtime, they're just gonna make stuff free so that people will, like, you know, the players will be retained. Like right now, I want to say we're smack dab in the middle of the next update and the previous one, right? I think the Nightmare Dungeon came out, you know, Wallaroo came out, it's, you know, it's settled down now. And the spring update, especially like, you know, if they're gonna be doing an Arc 2 spell of an update and like, you know, all the other stuff, like maybe a gauntlet, if they're gonna be doing all that, we have a long time to go. I want to say at least a couple of months. So it might be that they're like, in the future, we'll also have downtime like this. Why don't we make the game free? Maybe this is the type of free worlds we can experience or come to expect if, you know, this is what they decide to do. Regardless of their motivations for why specifically now they're doing a week free, this is still something to celebrate. I feel like the fact that they're doing research, good sign. And in the meantime, you know, people can experience Wiz that haven't experienced it since, you know, a long time ago, or since they hit the paywall. Right, still something to be super hype about, but I do think that it's important to understand why they might be doing this. I do think they're researching. I do think that it's a long-term process, and I do think the trend has been more stuff is free. These are all good takeaways. One point that I keep like seeing getting brought up, which I don't get, and honestly, I want to get this off of my chest. Every time this happens and people ask, you know, why isn't this permanent, right? The thing that always happens, there's always people saying that, oh, you'd have to refund everyone that paid membership or bought the zones. As in, like, let's say that you bought Wizard City for crowns. If they were to make Wizard City free, suddenly the company owes you the money that you paid on the crown. I think that's a really, really stupid argument. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, if you went through something bad, and, you know, I don't know, someone invented something to solve the issue, just because you went through something bad doesn't mean that everyone else isn't entitled to using that invention. Like, that's kind of ridiculous. That's like saying, like, you know, let's say that everyone had bad eyesight. I'm using a bad eyesight analogy because I got bad eyesight. Let's say we lived in a society, everyone couldn't see well, and someone invented glasses. That's like literally saying that, you know, if you never experienced life without glasses, it's unfair, right? Like, sometimes good things can happen and progress can happen even if you necessarily didn't benefit from it when it wasn't so good. So I hope that's not the logic that they're using to not make the first arc free. I really doubt it. I really think it's just a money game. I don't think it's a controversy whether they're gonna refund or not. They're not gonna refund. It's just not really needed. I'm more than happy to say I paid membership or even bought zones. I mean, I paid membership, but like, I'm more than happy to say that's somewhat lost money without needing to be reimbursed if I think the health of the game is getting better by them making like the first arc free, for example. I do hope that that is the end goal with all of this, like, you know, making the first arc free. I feel like that's by far the most popular request that everyone has. Another first for this free trial period, other than the fact that it's in February, is that it's the first free trial period since Wallaroo was fully released. That means there's yet another world the player can play through once they go through Wizard City and Krakatopia, right? The library of worlds after the paywall that's extremely early in Wizard City is growing. And for that reason alone, I feel like if they're not confident that, you know, it's the right decision to make the first arc free, I understand at the end of the day, you know, you got to make money. I still think they should do more in terms of expanding these events. I feel like now that we've seen a few Wizard City and Crocotopia free events, I would love to see Marleybone added onto it. I don't know, for the longest time, I really thought the end of Marleybone is when things picked up. You know, you really get an experience of like what a dungeon feels like a few times. That's where the magic really felt like it started for me. So to me, I feel like it would be a massive W for people to experience all the way through Marleybone for free. Like the first arc is actually story-wise like a masterpiece in my opinion, and I do think that the climax is approached at the end of Marleybone. That's when the stakes get kind of crazy. Even Mushu, I feel like, you know, it's almost like, you know, you're just there to get a spiral key to go to Dragonspire. Like Marleybone is when you realize, yo, Mally's up to no good, my boy. I feel like a free-to-play player experiencing that, like, they'll fall in love. I think that's just my 2 cents on it. I'm gonna say this quite boldly. If what they're trying to do with a lot of these, you know, trial periods is experiment as to how to, you know, conceivably make the first arc free, I think Marleybone is a key point. That's what I'm gonna say. I think disproportionately more people will sign up for the game after the free trial ends if you add Marleybone. That's my hot take of the day. Let me know if y'all agree with that in the comment. As always, if all you got out of this video is that Wizard City and Crocotopia are free, amazing. We should make whatever these things are, like, I don't know, trial periods, events, whatever you want to call it, we should make them as successful as possible, in my opinion. So Wizard101 is like, yo, these are popular, let's invest more time into these. At the end of the day, regardless of how numbers around money and finances and all that goes, I still think there's one metric that's the most important, and that's playtime. So hopefully that's the metric that this stuff affects. You know, hopefully a ton of people play, hopefully it makes the game look a lot better. Overall, any step towards, you know, like not having people, you know, encounter a paywall super early, which is probably the Achilles heel of Wizard101 right now, is probably a good thing. I love to see that Wiz is still, you know, putting efforts towards being a little bit more modern, maybe, you know, adding more stuff for free, treating the players with more respect as customers. Let me know what you guys think about some of the things that we talked about in this video. What do you guys think about the first arc being free? What do you guys think about Marleybone potentially maybe being added to these, you know, 1 week where we have free trials? And what do y'all think about people that are, you know, demanding a refund if they ever make the first arc or Wizard City or Crocotopia free? I'd love to hear all of y'all's thoughts. It's just, you know, a combination of thoughts that I feel like a lot of people had over this when it was announced today. I look forward to reading all of y'all's comments. As always, if somebody hasn't told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong. Stay awesome. See y'all soon. And yeah.